Hey everybody, it's Mark here, and I've got with me today a really interesting guy. I first got to know him a couple of years ago in the world of online marketing, but he's been actually doing pretty well for the last 15 or so years online. In recent times, he's been really blowing it up using a method called eFarming. He's actually the world's #1 e-farmer. He's making over $15,000 per day consistently doing e-farming, and we'll get into what that is in just a moment. But this is really interesting. He's a dad of two. He's got a 4-year-old and a 10-year-old, and he's able to do this using 4 to 6 hours a day. This works in a variety of different niches. By the way, you're going to hear about a couple of his students that are doing some weird stuff like selling wallets and there's one guy's into politics, and other people are into other different methods. So when we talk about e-farming, it's kind of parallel but different to viewing online marketing kind of like virtual real estate. Your web pages or your property on the internet is kind of like real life stuff. So a website is kind of like a virtual house or business, and an e-farm, which we'll get to, is kind of like having your own farm that actually produces stuff for you regularly and ongoing, like it produces a harvest. But anyway, that aside, Igor's made, his name's Igor Kheifets, by the way, and he has made over 8 figures online already. In fact, 8 weeks ago, he did a bit of a demonstration for me of an e-farm where he made over $120,000 in the space of 2 weeks from one e-farm he set up. 2 weeks ago, he made $80,000 in a week from another e-farm. And these e-farms, they go, they peak, they trough, they peak, they trough, but they keep, even during the troughs, they still make money. All right, so it's really, really interesting. It's a fascinating method. It's one that he's taught to a number of students that do very, very well. And it's up to me now to try and grill you, Igor, to get as much info as I can all about e-farming. So welcome along, Igor.
Thanks. It's great to be here. And I've known you for years, obviously, and it's a true pleasure to be sharing the stage right now. And I'll do my best to bring e-farming to light and to help your students recognize how they can make money doing this and without having to, necessarily work too hard.
Okay, fantastic. So what is e-farming? How about we explain to people what it is and why people are able to do so well? And then maybe let's look at some examples of how this is working in real life so people can get an idea how they can do it.
Yeah, e-farming is a coin I termed, and what it means is email farming. Now, before you tell me, Igor, email is dead, email doesn't work, and I don't want to spam people. Let me just tell you. First off, you're never spamming anyone. It's actually all permission based. But what's important is your job as an e-farmer is to build email farms, is to collect email records on the internet. You don't talk to anyone. You don't go and pitch anyone on anything. You don't go like to seminars and get people's business cards and put them all on the list and start sending them emails from your personal Gmail account or nothing like that. Okay, it's all automated. But what's most important is I want you to understand that each email address that you collect in your farm is truly like, a seed of either corn or potato. It grows every year and you can cash out. Only the difference is it doesn't grow yearly. It actually can be cashed out weekly, monthly, depending on how aggressive you want to go with your e-farm. Personally, for me, I tend to cash out my e-farms weekly. That's like the interval by which I measure the profitability of any particular farm. And this strategy is used using technology. So you're building these e-farms using technology rather than manual labor. And therefore you can build simultaneous e-farms, even if you choose to go into many different niche markets. And we mentioned that some of my students and friends do weird stuff, as you said. Well, the like if I told you that there's a friend of mine who actually owns a 100,000 email farm in the fish tank business and is making well over 7 figures, right? That would be interesting because, I mean, think how small is the market worldwide for people who own fish tanks and who take like a, passionate interest in fish tanks and fish keeping. And yet here's this guy built himself a nice e-farm and is able to monetize it quite literally several times a week by offering additional products and services, just notifying his email subscribers about these additional products and services, be it different, modifications to a fish tank, food for the fish, different types of fish. Like, there's really, what I love about eFarming, Mark, is that you can set up multiple streams of income without having to constantly, set up different e-farms.
I'm not
Because one
surprised.
e-farm can actually produce multiple streams of income in a sequential fashion.
I'm not surprised though about the fish tank one, because I've actually been in almost the same niche. About, must have been 20 years ago now. I did spend about, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years in that niche. It was never my best niche. It might have been about my 20th or 30th best niche at the time. It still made me, I don't know, it definitely made me in the several $100s a week though for years. Simply, it was all to do with just tropical fish care, info products. So it was just it was an ebook that I had all about tropical fish care. And it was just constantly making sales though, a few sales a day, every day for years and years, while I left it sitting there because it wasn't really fully taking off. But it's the same sort of concept. Some things really take off and you scale it, and some things, at least even when it's just sitting there, it can still keep making you money because when someone's passionate about something, they just stay passionate about it for years and they keep opening your emails and so forth. And the good thing about e-farming is it's automated. You're not looking at having to send live emails every week, anything like that. You're talking about going, you know what, let's put in a sequence that we put it in once, and now everyone starts at day 1. They get to day 3, they get another email, day 5, day 7. They're just running through an order. It's all automated.
Yeah, and you can choose how basic or advanced you can go. Like, there's some e-farms that I've got, they're really simplistic. Somebody gives me their email address, and there's maybe up to maybe 7 to 10 emails going out, and that's really the farm. However, there are some e-farms that I've got that are really sophisticated, and once someone goes in, there's different conditions that I set, that if they open an email, send them another one. If they don't send them another one. If they watch this video, do this. If they didn't, don't do this. And so, some e-farms that I've set up, and we're talking years ago, by the way, that now, have sequences and automations that last for like over 100 days that I haven't touched in a long, long time, that continue to produce profits. And, it's a completely normal thing for me to sit here, and I work out of this, my basement. What you're seeing right now, this is in my house. Upstairs is the living room, and above that, the bedrooms of my children and myself. It's not unusual for my wife to be coming down those stairs you see behind me and be like, "Hey, honey, I see there's like $18,000 payment that just came in. What's that from?" And I'm like literally sitting here, and I'm like, I'm not sure. Like, I really don't know. I actually have to go and look which e-farm is responsible. So e-farming, as a father, as a husband, and as somebody who was growing up, and my dad, just like many dads of that era, was always out, like doing something, like trying to, I guess, earn a living or whatever. Sometimes he would just get drunk. I'm not sure if he was actually trying to earn a living, but he was always away. And, in my whole entire childhood, I've got one memory of playing football with him. And I'm talking like European football, soccer. Just one memory. One time we played football together. It was like the highlight of my childhood. And that's really it. So when I was getting into building my adult life, and I'm pretty young, I'm only 34. I kind of vouched to find something that allows me to spend more time with my kids, to spend time with my family, to be present in the lives of my children. And e-farming allows me to do that, because just like you mentioned in the beginning, I'm able to earn this ridiculous money working between 4 to 6 hours a week. I'm sorry, 4 to 6 hours a day, 5 times a week. And that is not while not having any specialized education. Like, I don't have paperwork. I'm not an engineer. I didn't quit a high paying Wall Street job, to go do this. I'm like a guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like, I'm just a guy who
Uh,
was
I
willing to
I know
figure
that
stuff
this
out.
stuff works because I know what I do is not exactly the same as what you do, but there's a lot of parallels and stuff. I already know, like, because I've been in I still am in so many different niches with emails. I was actually, because I've been moving one of my offices recently, I saw a business plan that I'd written in 2004 for a particular mailing list. Right, it had this big elaborate plan how we're going to have this mailing list that goes for 18 months, and it's going to promote this product, then this product, and this product, and it had all this order and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that list that we set up back in 2004, it is 18 years later, it is still making us thousands of dollars a week now. Like right now, it gets, and we don't even buy traffic. It literally is everywhere on the internet. So we end up getting, over 100 subscribers a day coming in without us even trying to this. I guess it's like an eFarm that's been set up. You let something go for long enough. I mean, give it enough attention, it can, things like that. And that's in the dating and relationships niche for women, by the way, in case you're interested. So it's not in, I don't know, a common niche that a lot of people might have expected.
Especially at the time, like back in 2004. I don't think there were too many women looking for relationship advice.
Oh,
Mostly it was guys. I was
no,
actually,
no,
I
there
was up and
were.
coming.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just saying that it's funny you mentioned that because I got into the game, into the industry of online marketing because I actually got on someone else's eFarm as a potential customer for their dating product. Like, I was really struggling with women. I was terrified of talking to them. And I remember seeing this ebook. It was actually in Hebrew. I was, back in Israel at the time. And it was all about dating and, how to talk to women, what to say. And, all of a sudden I'm like on all these e-farms and getting all these emails about dating and stuff. Like, all of a sudden I'm like subscribing to Aben Pagan and Mystery and getting on their seminars and webinars and whatnot and listening to
Yep.
the interviews. So, like, and then I realized just how much money they're making and just how little they have to work because of all the technology that allows to automate this stuff.
Well, you said that about 2004. I started in that niche in 1999. That was just that's why I was able to go, oh, let's build out this 450-day sequence in 2004, because I already knew that niche was going well. I just decided to make a new website in that niche. But yeah, 2000, I was in
1999, I was 11 years old.
11, right?
I wasn't thinking niches. I
Couldn't,
was thinking
expect to be competing with you in that niche then.
I was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on my Dandy.
Mm. I, I was a psychology student at university. I ended up hiring another fellow psychology student to help me in writing a book on how to be irresistible to women for men back in
Nice.
1999. We were going to sold this book for like $5, right? Back then.
Yeah.
And but I called it How to Be Irresistible to the Opposite Sex. That's what it was called. And 80% of the customers were women. So, and it
Oh,
was all the copy was written for men. Everything was written for men. All the pictures on the page was generated for men. I couldn't understand why are all the women buying it and not men. And then women were complaining, saying, "Hey, this is only for men." And then we had to scramble and to do everything we could to put together a really good product for women. And then that was sort of the start of me getting into that niche, and I ended up being more on the women's side than the men's side. I didn't realize. So that's how I discovered women wanted to know this stuff, was back then, by a little bit of an accident. And then got to know more and more about that niche at that time. But so discovered it by accident a long time ago.
Wow, that's incredible. And I'm still shocked at the idea that most women have low self-esteem. If they only knew what happens in a guy's head and how much we are afraid of women, I don't think they'd be reading those books. But I mean,
Well,
you
it's
can't
not
control the
even.
markets, you know. The
No,
markets are
no,
what they are.
and I don't want to say they have low self-esteem. That might be men. A lot of them, the reason they have trouble with men is they have high self-esteem, and the guy they're interested in has low self-esteem, and it becomes hard. There's a lot of different reasons why women might be interested, but we're going off on a tangent there.
Yeah, but
And
you're
most of
the
them
expert
are,
anyway.
age 40 plus versus it's not like the 23-year-old girl that's trying to get a boyfriend. It's it's someone that might have
Right.
been out of the dating game for a while or something like that. But anyway, that's a different niche. All we're saying is this does work in a lot of different areas. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got lists in language learning and personal development and musical instrument learning, learn piano, learn guitar, um, how to draw manga comics, like you name it. There's so many niches. That's for me. I like info product niches, health niches as well, diabetes, stuff like that. Other people I know, like, they prefer physical product niches. Like, I know people they like to write, they like to just get into audio equipment, and they basically talk about in their list all about, say, some bit of audio that they've put together recently, and or how to do it. That's their content, but then they'll show the piece of equipment that they actually use to do it. um
Yeah. Yeah.
on the camera, like something like that. They'll
Yeah.
show that piece of equipment or whatever, and they'll earn their commissions selling the stuff. There's just so many different ways to do it, and I think right now is a really unique time in the history of the internet, because now is a time when you can actually get high margins on physical products when you didn't used to be able to as an affiliate. It used to be, as an affiliate, if you promoted a physical product, you might only get 5% commissions. But now there are many physical products that pay out very, very high amounts. Like, we're just about to start promoting a water filter that pays us, it costs like about $70, and it pays us about $60.
Nice.
But they make money on their back end if someone buys
Yeah.
three or
Yeah.
four of them or something, but it's still pretty decent. And I can see why some people are making thousands a day even with that offer. So we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to record a video and stuff, like actually reviewing the product. You don't have to do that. I just like to go the extra mile, because that's what you do. The more you get down the rabbit hole of the stuff, but it's not necessary. But if you know that you can double or triple what you're making by going the extra mile, then why not? And then I'll
Yeah.
build out my own funnel for it.
Yeah. I mean, to the same extent, I've built e-farms around physical stuff like a special lens that you put on your phone that sells for $50, but it pays you actually, I believe, $60 per sale, because the vendor is willing to give you more money to make the sale than the cost of the product. There's been another e-farm that I've created that was a bit short-lived, to be honest, because this one, for some reason, didn't really work long term. It kind of died off quickly. But that's, I guess, the risk you're taking when you only need one to really pop for you to really succeed. But this one was for a set of kind of like Apple AirPods, but they weren't Apple AirPods. They were basically similar concept, but no brand. And
Right.
the angle was really that, hey, it's this, like, it's very similar, but it doesn't cost you a ton of money. So that played well for some time. And then a few months later, that project came to an end. However, the email subscribers who were still in that e-farm, I didn't have to throw them out. They don't go stale, they don't go bad. I just had to shift and see what else they want. So in this case, this was gadgets. So just kept on looking for
Ah,
additional
yeah.
gadgets and stuff like that. So the
That's a niche
beauty.
I want to get into, gadgets, actually, because there's just, I mean, I like gadgets myself, and there's so much stuff you can do. It's so easy. I imagine at Christmas time you just send out a blog post that says 23 must-have gadgets for 2023 or something like
Yeah.
that, and then people will buy them as Christmas presents for people or whatever. They'll just read through them and be like, there might only be two of them that stick out to them, but they'll make heaps of sales for those sort of things, and people love just reading and seeing that kind of those kind of emails. At least I feel like that, because I like that sort of stuff. It depends on what you're into, I guess.
Yeah, and like sometimes you don't even have to have a product either. Like a buddy of mine actually built an e-farm around personal development and kind of like personal development topics. And then he said, now that I've got this e-farm, I can actually sell advertising to the people who might have products and services for that market. So he put up like a page on his website saying that,
Yeah.
hey, this is this, I can send out this many emails for this much. I can send out this many emails for this much, and I can send out this many emails for that much. And he actually has a fairly small e-farm of less than 10,000 email addresses. Now, they're all very responsive, of course, but he actually makes over 6 figures a year just with that one e-farm, besides anything else he's got going on there. And all he has to do is just send out emails. Another friend of mine actually did that in the politics space. And so one of the easiest things, one of the things that actually polarizes people the most is politics, besides, of course, religion and sex. So he set up a really simple one-pager to collect email addresses, and he built himself a conservative, this is in the US,
Yeah.
a conservative political list. And as it turns out, conservative Americans respond well to certain type of offers, including but not limited to guns, right? So he's a gun enthusiast, and he was able to start promoting like gun accessories, like all kinds of stuff in that industry. Kind of went and looked up vendors in that game. Like there's really there's no box. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you
Yeah.
should promote
I know.
guns or anything, but
Yeah.
like there's no box. Like if you've got an audience and you've got access to that audience through the power of the email, then the sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And some people also, they already have a following. You could be watching this and maybe you've already got an Instagram following or something like that, but you don't know how to monetize it. The way to monetize it is you give away a free gift that gets them into your eFarm, like a free 5-page report on a certain topic or something, like on something that your followers are interested in, and next thing you know, they're on your email list, and the email list is what makes you the money, not not necessarily your daily posts. Those just keep coming out as content. Oh, free thing, content, free thing, and that free thing gets them into your farm or into another farm if you have multiple ones. That's there's a lot of different ways of going about it. Anyways, I think that's the exciting thing. A lot of different ways to build those. Build those up. A friend of mine, his son was only like 11, and he started filming their dog, just doing funny things, kept posting them to TikTok. Now has 5,000 TikTok followers. And I suggested to him, why don't you just go into the dog training niche or something, just every now and then give away a free dog training guide, or it doesn't even have to be yours. Put them onto someone else's that they do all the follow-ups, but you get the commissions, just something like that. You can monetize it now. It's
Not to
lots of different
mention
ideas.
the power that comes from owning your own media, because email is one of the few things today that you can actually own. Like if you've got a big YouTube following or TikTok following, they can shut you down. Like if they could shut down the president of the United States, if they could cancel J.K. Rowling, who wrote Harry Potter, I mean, let's be honest, they can close anyone, they can shut down anyone. So, a buddy of mine is actually in the sex advice for men niche.
Mhm.
And I just had him on my podcast just a little while ago. He built a huge YouTube channel in that space, all organic, and he also had the audacity to tell people to join his email list. And what ended up happening eventually is that he woke up one day and his YouTube channel was deleted, gone, disappeared. Now, what's really cool is that he had the list. And even though his list, compared to his YouTube channel that had like over several 100,000 subscribers, his list was only several dozen thousand subscribers. That list became the go-to asset, because until then he didn't properly email it
I hope
at all.
I hope he appeals, because I mean, I've never seen someone not get their channel back on appeal if because I've almost never heard of anyone losing a channel, to be honest, but the very few that I have heard of that have lost a YouTube channel have all got them back on appeal. Like, it should be straightforward to get
Well,
back.
he just, I don't know, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but now he's got a different one.
Having the
Like
list though, that's the key. That's where the money is, absolutely. But you know, you don't want to lose these things if you don't have to, unless you're definitely breaking terms and conditions. Of course, like I can't help there, but I'm assuming he probably wouldn't have.
I don't know. I really don't. But he said if it wasn't for the list, he'd be basically going back to a day job. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would that'd be crazy. So one of the ones of your students you're telling me off camera just before is doing it selling wallets. Do you want to
Yeah. So so this guy had a dream. He actually created his own wallet. And at first he tried to sell it without doing any kind of e-farming, and he was basically losing money on ads. He couldn't really scale, but eventually someone told him that he should, right? So I only got to meet him after he understood what the concept was and just helped him, with it. But he basically ended up having 90% of all of his wallet sales come from his email farm, from his email list. And that ended up propelling him forward, allowing him to retain a lot of people, convert those who didn't convert the first time on the website, get people on his e-farm with like coupons and things like that, and just overall pretty much save his entire dream business.
Honestly, there'd be very few people with wallet lists, so to speak. So if you really want someone to really like your brand, if and you're a bit unique, you've made your own wallet and stuff, that's got to help build that relationship quite quickly and have people think, oh, I want that wallet, because it'll stand out rather than feeling like a commodity. I mean, how many wallets do you actually? I don't know who made any of the wallets that are out there that I could possibly buy. I wouldn't even think of. There's no go-to in my head, but if I was on someone's list and he was very passionate about his wallet, that would probably be first to come to mind if I was going to go buy a wallet.
But here's the interesting part, though. The part that e-farmers don't usually talk about, and kind of like you can build an Amazon store and then you can sell it. A lot of people do that where they build it up and then they quickly flip it. Well, when somebody goes in online looking to buy a business, they actually look at this asset, the e-farm that comes attached to it. And in the case of this person, they were able to sell the business.
Oh, wow.
Because of them being able to say, hey, look, this is how many customers we got, right? But here's the whole list. And, private equity that was buying it, they were like, oh, look at that. I want it.
No,
that's where the equity
it makes total sense, because you can't, it's spam if you just give people's email addresses away. I can't, even if, say, I don't know, let's say Amazon wanted to buy some of my email addresses, I can't give them my email addresses. That's illegal. The only way they could legally acquire them is to buy my whole business, or to buy the website that those email addresses are associated with. If they buy the whole property, then they can have them. So some people, some big companies, or big or medium companies, that's how they acquire email addresses, is they just buy the entire website, and then they kind of merge together and stuff. And I don't know how they do it, but that's the legal way. So yeah, absolutely, it adds value if you're thinking of flipping and selling. Now on the webinar, because we're going to have a workshop. By the way, I should have mentioned to people, we're going to have a workshop where you're going to go into detail about this. Am I right in saying you're going to talk about, all about what it is? You're going to show a lot of proof of how this works. We'll talk about different niches and stuff that, that it works in, but, you're going to talk about ways to get all of this stuff done for you. And am I right in saying you'll also cover stuff like the traffic, like how do we get visitors to this? I know that there are different ways, paid, free. There are many different ways. We'll cover stuff like that as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about traffic as well. I can even mention it right now. A long time ago, I figured that the best possible way for me to generate eFarm subscribers, my email subscribers, it would be the people who are already on other eFarms, because they're already conditioned to go and check their email. So this is why my go-to strategy for quickly building eFarms quickly became email drops, which is you finding other people who own eFarms and having them send out an email promoting your eFarm. Now it sounds a bit like a pyramid scheme almost, but it's really not. Basically, whoever has an e-farm has the ability to send out an email promoting anything, and it might as well be another e-farm. And people who are habitually subscribing, to email lists, that's what they like to do. People who go on Facebook, they like to go on Facebook. People who love watching YouTube videos go on YouTube, and people who subscribe to email lists, they subscribe to email lists. And so this is a very fast way to generate tons of email subscribers, skipping a lot of the hard work that, initially I had to go through and try to figure out, like, building social media profiles and uploading tons of content.
Yeah, and that can work, but it's yeah, that's not going to work as
a lot of work.
Like,
just
yeah,
a lot of work.
I know what you mean. I've done that many times, where you go ahead and you look up some of these places. They're not in public directories. They're often like they're private, a little bit more private. Otherwise they get the wrong kind of customers, I guess, and so forth. But if you're in the know, and you're able to obviously through you and so forth, able to get these lists and able to go and make whatever it is that they demand. They might say, look, we want $200 for you to send an email to our list of 10,000 people, and you go pay the 200.
Like, here's let me give an example. So I got a friend who is in the health niche, and his e-farms are diverse, but he has a total of over 200,000 email subscribers on his e-farms, all interested in all kinds of stuff related to health. Some of his e-farm is parenting related, but point being is that people are like health conscious, right? So I actually spoke to him the other day, and I said, hey, if I wanted to start going into that direction and build me a health e-farm, right, and I wanted to use your help with that, and like, can you drop an email to your people and tell them to sign up? And he said, yeah. And basically we're looking at about 50 cents, right, per click.
Oh yeah, because that's probably might be what he makes in affiliate commissions if he promotes an affiliate offer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he makes on average, he told me he makes roughly between $2 to $7 per email subscriber per month. Now, depending, of course, on what he's running, right? So basically that means that on any given month, he's making like well over $400,000. So, I mean, the power of you compared e-farming to real estate earlier, and I think it's a great analogy with a caveat.
Well,
because
no, not e-farming to real estate. I was comparing e-farming, to farming. I was comparing virtual real estate to websites, like websites to virtual real estate, e-farming to farming.
Yeah. Well, I look at my e-farm as an asset, and the way it would differ from, say, owning a rental property is that I don't have tenants, which I don't need to worry about that. If I wanted to cash out, I don't have to necessarily go and look for a buyer to buy the property outright and have someone fund them, right? This is a different type of asset that can continuously produce money for you, that doesn't require too much management and maintenance, just requires you to engage it. That's really the one requirement with an e-farm. Like, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I guess, owning a vending machine that's in a supermarket. Not in a supermarket, in a shopping mall. Like, once you've got the traffic, you've got people in there, then it's like you've just placed a vending machine there now, so a certain percentage of people will buy something from it, kind of thing, in an automated way, without there having to be an active seller right there, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great analogy.
All right. So anyway, what's a couple of reasons why someone should join us for our workshop coming up?
Oh, that's a good question. So first off, this workshop is for people who are entrepreneurial in their nature. Like, if you're the kind of person who continuously wants to build multiple streams of income, and you're always looking for ways to leverage even the things you're already doing to continuously expand your wealth and impact, then you should attend. If you've got other dreams and hobbies that require, cash flow, and you're always looking for ways to make more money without necessarily getting bogged down in building yourself another job, that's also a reason to attend. If you're already into the digital marketing space and you're already trying things online, you're successful or you're semi-successful or not so successful, this is just another way for you to make income online. And just like Mark here, who's a great example. I mean, you're like insane when it comes to this stuff, because I mean, I don't know how many, but I would say to say that you have multiple streams of income is an understatement, right? Because you've got so many different things working for you, while at the same time, you don't seem to be working way too hard for them, right?
Right. Yeah, I get what you.
You got
Yeah,
so
a
many
lot of
assets, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of them they just sit there. You focus on whatever your top 10 or so are, and then you lose focus on a lot of the other ones that still keep bringing in revenue. It's not like they don't bring you money. It's just obviously, if you focus on your top 10%, you're going to do a lot better with your scaling. But yeah, absolutely, that's the
So I
nature.
guess what I'm saying is if you want to be that sort of person, if you continuously striving to be a person who's got multiple streams of income to continuously build yourself this almost like a fort or a castle, right, that surrounds you to protect you against any sudden movements. Like, a lot of people, when the pandemic started, they all of a sudden, a lot of people went out of business or lost entire incomes, or their world got shaken. Entire industries got shaken, actually. So I think the reason that guys like myself, guys like Mark, and a lot of people who utilize strategies that we teach didn't get shaken is because, first off, if anything, the pandemic kind of helped. It pushed more people into this space and made more people aware that they can go online. But in addition, what ended up happening is, I think we're so flexible, and the strategies we teach, you can apply them so quickly in so many different directions, that we no longer see disasters. We kind of just see opportunities.
Yeah,
And now it becomes a means. Actually, we have to learn to say no more often than we say yes. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
absolutely. Yeah, that's often my biggest biggest issue. But then again, I look and go, well, I'm a bit scatterbrained, so it kind of suits my personality, having a number of little things going on. And for some people, they you know who you are. Some people are just really tidy, focused, able to just stick to one thing and build it out really big. Um, so it's good. There's both paths can work depending on what you're really desiring to do.
Yeah, the way I see it is, come and see it, come and learn, come and check this out. At the very least, you're walking away with some new knowledge, some new awareness, and maybe sometime down the road, you'll be able to use this information to your advantage. But what if you come in and you like what you see? And then, I'll tell you more about our 30-day e-farming challenge that gets you up and running in e-farming and quickly building your first e-farm so you can start making money. And you like that and you try it out. Or maybe, again, if you're successful, you're already busy with something online, maybe it's something you can hand over to your spouse or your kid, depending on how old you are. Like my daughter, she's only 10, but I can see that in a few years' time, when she's a little bit more mature, that's going to happen. I'm going to teach her how to do e-farming, and I'm going to have her build me some e-farms in some different niches that I haven't got around to
Fantastic.
penetrating yet.
Well, I just want to say a big thank you so much for your time. I know you've gone really over time, and I really appreciate it. We're on different parts of the planet. For people that are wondering about this on this recording, I'm in New Zealand. Igor is over in Toronto, Canada. And at the time of this recording, it's super late for him over there. So I really appreciate your time sharing all this information. I can't wait for the workshop as well to find out more about your method. And for those of you that are listening, make sure to join us. The link will either be below this video or they'll be in the description below, one or the other, depending where you're accessing it. So make sure to join us for this particular workshop. Don't miss out and take action with what you learn. I hope that you've gained a lot of great information from this. I hope you found this to be really inspiring as well. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now, everybody.